Hello everyone. Before I play this recording, I want you to listen closely. Not just to what's being said, but to what it means. Because what you're about to hear is a police officer of the Berwick Police Department in Maine openly admitting that political bias plays a role in how CPS cases are handled. This is a Berwick Police Department officer, Officer Baccon, Jim Baccon, explaining why CPS refuses to engage with his case fairly. His justification is that DHS is focused with a lot of liberal-leaning people. Think about that for a second. A law enforcement officer, not a politician, not a news commentator, but an officer responsible for enforcing laws fairly and without bias, just blamed a government agency's alleged political beliefs as a reason for how my case is being mishandled. Now, I don't care about politics. I only care about seeing my sons. I care about holding CPS accountable for weaponizing their power. I care about exposing the truth. But instead of addressing that, I'm being given excuses and political deflections. How many other parents are being failed because officers like this allow personal bias to dictate how they enforce the law? How many cases have been ignored, dismissed, or outright buried because an officer decided that people involved don't align with their personal beliefs? This should concern absolutely everyone. Because when law enforcement is comfortable openly admitting that their personal politics influence their decisions, how can we trust that they are serving the public fairly? Listen to this clip for yourself and ask yourself, is this the kind of policing that we should accept? Let's roll the recording.
And you got to remember, DHS is filled with a lot of liberal-leaning people. You may not mean it in a threatening manner, but they receive it that way.
Right, but guess what,
right?
sir? Guess what, sir? And I don't say this at you. I appreciate you saying everything you're saying, but I don't care about politics. In a shocking display of bias, Officer Baccon of Berwick PD openly shamed DHS for being, quote, focused with a lot of liberal-leaning people, end quote, while justifying why CPS refuses to engage with my case fairly. This statement wasn't just casual conversation. It was a clear admission that political bias is influencing law enforcement's response to cases involving CPS. What does this mean? It means that an officer of the law admitted on record that people's personal beliefs, not law, not policy, not justice, actually shape how cases like mine are handled. Let's be clear. My case isn't about politics. I don't care about liberal or conservative talking points. I only care about seeing my sons, who have been ripped away from me due to CPS's corruption in Maine and systemic failure. I called Berwick Police Department for help, and instead, I got excuses and political commentary. When I pushed back, I made it clear. I don't care about politics. I care about seeing my sons. Yet, instead of holding CPS accountable, instead of challenging why they refused to answer why I was trespassed without cause, instead of questioning the validity of their own actions, I was given yet another excuse, yet another deflection, and yet another way to normalize what is deeply unjust. Why is an officer's personal belief about, quote, liberal-leaning, quote, DHS workers even relevant in a conversation about a father being blocked from seeing his children? How is this acceptable in any law enforcement agency that is supposed to remain neutral and uphold the law? How many other cases have been handled unfairly because of officers projecting their personal biases onto the people and the agencies they are supposed to work with? This isn't just about me. This is about law enforcement officers deciding based on personal ideology which agencies they support and which ones they undermine. This is about an officer excusing CPS's refusal to answer for the corruption because he doesn't align with their perceived political stance. This should concern absolutely everyone, regardless of political beliefs. If law enforcement is comfortable openly admitting that their personal perspectives influence how they enforce the law, then how can we trust that they are serving the public fairly? Share this. Talk about it. Demand accountability. If an officer in Berwick Police Department is saying this on the record, how many others in law enforcement are thinking it? And how many are acting on it? Thank you for watching and taking time to listen. If you care about truth and transparency and accountability, then I encourage you to ask more questions, not just of me, but of the people in power making these decisions. The more we ask, the more we find out. And that's exactly what I'm on a mission to do, to uncover the truth and to share it transparently. If you want to hear my full conversation with Officer Baccon from Berwick Police Department here in Maine, you can find it on the CPS Accountability Movement Facebook page. Thanks, everyone. Please, stay engaged, keep questioning, and never stop demanding accountability. Because when enough of us start asking the right questions, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And that's what we're after. Truth.